What up? What up? You already know what time it is. It's your boy Jordan, and we're back once again for another review from the textbook. Today we're gonna be breaking down Chapter 3, and Chapter 3 was basically enforcing ethic code. Like it gave a couple examples, in-depth examples of like situations where the ethic code of that certain industry or a certain job was violated, from a person's photography industry to politics, and even gave a couple examples of like a news station, like a list of certain violations and like would you report those type of things, stuff like that. Um, I think one thing that I really liked about this chapter, it was very just like story based. Whereas like instead of just giving like terminology and just giving like a couple examples and relating it back to the term, they really just put in like full in depth narratives to describe what it's like to kind of be in that scenario where you might have to step up and enforce a certain code. For the photography one, the person started their own freelance business from scratch. There was a person that he personally knew. He was caught basically manipulating photos, basically making the pictures not valid anymore. And he got away with it at first, I think, until later on they caught him. They found like two photos from the same day. One had a person that was taken out, and one didn't, and that's how he got caught. But there was an issue at first that he kind of got a light penalty, and it was still a threat that he might continue to manipulate photos and stuff like that. So the main person of the narrative, I can't remember the name, but he consulted with a few people and basically came up with a plan in order to enforce the ethic code without like starting a whole bunch of controversy. Then the other story, it was about a woman, last name Miller. I can't remember the first name, but she got an internship for a political party to kind of help with their campaign, and then she basically started to witness a lot of staging events where basically it seemed like something was going on with like protesters and stuff like that, and it turned out to all be staged. So she had to decide whether she was going to participate in that or not. And the main thing I really got out of the whole chapter is that of course, brush up on the ethics code of whatever business you're thinking of being a part of or you want to do in the future. But at the end of the day, is you have to have a set of personal morale as well, because there are a lot of things in the ethics code and like a lot of jobs that maybe like the company may see as like a big deal, but you may not. Like, I think one of the examples was basically the reporter did a report about this flourishing business, but the thing about it was her husband's friend's business. So basically, promoting the basically people close to them, and I guess that was considered unethical. But me and probably like a set of other people would see that probably as like not a huge deal. But there was another example where somebody called in sick for like 3 days to get a job interview, or to do a job interview. That would pretty much be seen as unethical, I think, in all parties, just for the fact that you're using the corporation's time to pursue another business, and that's something you shouldn't be doing on the company's time. But yeah, I think when it really comes down to it, you have to have kind of like a person more like, what do you feel like is most important in certain situations? Like, what do you feel like really needs to have a penalty, or like what do you personally feel like can be seen as whatever. I think it's also important that in certain situations you can't. It's not best to go off of your own knowledge. Making decisions on your own call, because from the first story, one of the main things was that he had a couple of ideas, but he wasn't sure he had a couple of ideas of how to handle the situation, but he wasn't sure what would be best. So he consulted with a couple of people he looked up to, as well as consulted with a couple other people, and basically formatted a plan in order to try to handle the situation as professional as possible. without letting it get too personal or just like too much of I'm calling this guy out because he didn't want to be seen. He didn't want to be outed as the person that got this person fired or anything like that. But yeah, overall, I think the whole moral of the chapter was understanding the ethnic code wherever you are, and basically is using a combination of your personal morale, what the code is at your place, and the consulting of others to basically format how to properly handle the situation. And that's all I have for today. And yeah, I appreciate you watching. And I guess I'll see you on the next review.